It is Locked On Jazz for the 9th of December. The Utah Jazz are absolutely crushing people offensively. We'll look at to what extent and why they're getting that done. We'll also address some really inane comments from Patrick Beverley and Anthony Edwards and the Philadelphia 76ers from the docket. We come from way up high in Philadelphia for today's edition of Locked On Jazz. Bum 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 pow.
You are Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, I'm David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, Jazz NBA insider. This is Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz, giving you insight, expertise, geeky numbers, and hopefully making it way better to be a Jazz fan each and every day. Thanks very much for making Locked On Jazz your first listen of the day. We are free and available on all platforms. On YouTube, you can push that little button right there, hit subscribe, and get it notched to you. All right, I think you can see there's this crazy glare. I have to show you the view out of my hotel room today. And then we will get back to the regular show, and then we'll actually close the blinds and everything. So I don't think I've in a span of getting in at 3:00 in the morning. I don't think I've made my hotel room too much of a mess yet. So this is, can you see this? The view out of my hotel room, and we are way, way up here, like 50 floors high. I think you can see that. Kind of crazy, like wild. The sun's bearing down on me, so we're going to have to close the blinds. But this is a pretty snazzy spot. Like, Summers, Spring Hill Inn, Hampton Inn, all those things. And then this time of year, I get to stay in the nicest hotels in the world. So it's kind of cool. But I had to show you guys that view. Hopefully that came across. You can tell me in the chat room if it did. The glare, I'm now closing the blinds so that the glare goes away so that we can actually have a conversation. Oh, whoa. Where'd my camera go? There we go. Now it's like really dark in here. I have no lights on. I didn't think about that. All right, a little wacky. What do I do? Give me 1 second. Got to turn some lights on here. All right, that's a little better. I didn't think about that if I open that up, I'd end up losing all the lights in the building. So yeah. All right. I do not get the hotel points. Someone was asking. All right, let's get to this. We started this whole week out saying this can be really interesting. The Jazz have the best offense in the NBA. They're the number one team offensively, and we're gonna, let's see. We're about to play the Boston Celtics, who at the time I think were fourth off defensively. And then we played the Cavs, who were third, and then we played Minnesota, who by that time was fourth. And now we've got a Philadelphia team that's really good. And so what's happened? So we've played 12 quarters against these teams. Let me remind you the standard here. League average is about 110 points per 100 possessions. If you're 10% above that for, I've always said 2 quarters, I don't think you can lose. It's really hard to lose. We used to talk about it all the time defensively. If we could hold someone under 100, and I think that's actually I don't have the top level totally figured out mathematically, but if you could hold someone under 100 twice in a ball game, you were going to win every time. If you're going to win once, you're going to win almost all the time. What we're doing is the other side. We're going to 120. Now that can kind of go forever. Well, it can, to 300, I guess, in theory. Don't give us ideas. And so here's what we've done so far. We have played 12 quarters against teams that are top 5 defensive teams. Anything over 120 is a pretty incredible quarter of offense. First quarter against Boston was a 146. Second quarter was a 91. Third quarter was a 171. Fourth quarter was a 142 for a 138 offensive rating that night. Then we went to Cleveland. Our opening quarter was a 133. Our second quarter was a 122. Our third quarter was a 124. In the fourth quarter, we bombed it to an 82. So we finished at a 116, which is actually pretty good considering league average is 110 and Cleveland's the third best defense in the league. We're probably 8 or 9 points above league average on that performance. So again, 3 out of 4 quarters, 120 or higher. In the first 2 games, we had 4 of the 8 quarters, 130 or higher. We go last night to Minnesota, 126 in the first, 104 in the second. That was our dud. We seem to have one dud per game. Okay. 135 in the third and a 158 in the fourth for a 131 offensive rating. In now 9 of 12 quarters against the best defensive teams in the league. We haven't seen the Warriors. They're another planet defensively the way we're another planet offensively right now. Interestingly enough, by the way, that's what the matchup used to be when we played the Rockets, and we really couldn't totally slow them down. Which is an interesting idea. Now, we didn't have the offensive firepower that the Warriors do to match that. And so even though we slowed down the Rockets a little, our offense couldn't get there. That's what led to the transformation of what our team is. So 12 quarters, 9 of the 12 quarters, 120 or better. 6 of the 12 quarters, 130 or better. Maybe that's our number, 130. That, like, you go over 130 twice in a game, you're going to win. Our offensive ratings the last 3 days are a 138, a 116, and a 131. Come on. Here's the craziest one to me about last night. This is, and we touched, Tim Lacombe and I kind of just touched on this without being able to delve into it. This is why we have Locked On. In the first half last night, our offensive rating is a 115.4, which seems mundane to talk about right now, right? The way, like, we're talking about these massive numbers. In our first half against the third best defense in the league, our offensive rating was a 115.4. That would be the equivalent of the number 2 offense in all of the NBA if we did that for an entire season. Okay, follow me on this one. I actually think this is, if there's anything of value that I'm going to say today, like every now and then I'll like actually say to someone like, you know what, I think you might actually want to listen to Locked On Jazz or something of value. This is my point of value today. Internally in Locked On is the, whatever my silly title is, I always talk to the host about value content. This is my takeaway value content for you today. And here's to sum it up. Even when we're not very good, we're elite. Okay? So in the first half of last night's game, our offensive rating is a 115.5, which if we did that for the entire season would be the number, well, actually, it would be the number 1 offense in the NBA. Because we are the only teams that are better than 115.4 for the season. So in the first half of last night's game, we had an offense that would have been against the number 3 defense in the league, the number 1 offense in the league. What did we do to do that? In that quarter, in that half, to have the number 1 offense in the NBA against the number 4 defense, here's what we did. Of course, my computer just froze. Here we go. We shot 10 of 31 from 3. 32%. So we must have gone to the free throw line a ton. Nope. We went to the free throw line and made 6 free throws. Well, then we must have really crushed them on the offensive glass because that's our... Nope. We only had 2 offensive rebounds. We only turned it over 5 times, so that's great. We kept our turnovers down. And we did happen to shoot the 2 ball like out of this world in that quarter. We were 12 of 15 on 2s, which is astronomical. But if you look at our shot chart in that period of time, we took, if actually I do, within 6 feet, we took 10 of 12 at the rim. Donovan, we are pounding the rim. So in the first half of the game, we went 9 of 10 at the rim. All right, that's a little extraordinary. Of all of our shots, we only took 5 non-restricted area 2s in the entire half. So shot distribution was perfect. We took 7 corner threes. We only made 2 of them. We took 24 above the break threes. We only made 8 of them. Okay, you can give me back 1 or 2 of our rim layups and put us at 70%, which is closer to the norm. Then I get one of our corner threes. Then I get us to go 3 for 7 from corner 3, and I get an extra 3 points. You took away 4. I get one more 3. We go 9 of 24. I'm now ahead. I now have more. Our shot distribution and the way we play is so perfect that if we didn't, on a night like that where we don't turn it over, even if we don't offensive rebound, even if we don't go to the free throw line excessively, we're taxing you in so many ways defensively that even when we're not very good, we're the best in the league. It's crazy. It's bonker. It's befuddling. Trying. It's just wacky. And I think that's what we've just seen here. We've just gone up against 3 of the best defenses in the league. And we're throttling them the minute we play well. The minute we play well, it's other level, 130s, 140s, 150s. We didn't do that much exceptional stuff in the first half. We just didn't turn it over. We didn't offensive rebound. We didn't go to the free throw line. We didn't hit our threes. But on the other end, and this is kind of in Seth Partnow's book right now, which is really good. I'll get into this in a second. People don't understand the three-point revolution in the mid-range and what it does to the rim. We're number 1 in the league at the rim. We're number 1 in the league at the floater because of our three-point shooting. When you have to close out like all hell's on fire to get out there, and then we drive by you, and now we're on a 5-on-4 around the rim, we're going to make rim shots. Or Mike Conley's going to toss up because you got to stay with Rudy Gobert. It's exceptional. Tonight's another really big task. We'll get into it in a second. Patrick Beverley's an idiot. We'll talk about. No, I don't know if that's true, but come on. If he's going to be inflammatory, I'll be inflammatory. He's actually, one of his points is actually real, frankly. One of his points is 100% real. And then the rest of it is ludicrous. And if I'll sum up in one sentence what I think of the comments from Anthony Edwards and Patrick Beverley after the game last night. If you don't know what they are, I will tell you what they are because you're like, what the heck is he talking about? This is Locked On Jazz, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks very much for making this your first listen of the day. If you have not listened to Locked On Now yet, it's a podcast. It's on YouTube at Locked On NBA. It's a recap of the night's NBA action from the local experts. I think maybe I'm just such a big NBA fan. I'm busy all the time. I love it. I think it's just a really, really cool show. I'd love it if you would check it out and give Locked On Now a listen. That would be super. Today's show is brought to you by my friends at grip6.com. They've got all sorts of great holiday packs for you. Premium and Titan packs are 40% off right now. 8-pack socks is 30% off and 25% off belts. Those promo codes are all better than Locked On. If you can leave a note somewhere and say you heard from Locked On, I'd greatly appreciate it, just so that they, renew as a sponsor and stay with us. They have new long socks too, boot socks. I'm fired up about that. Did not see those until just now. And I actually really like my short grip 6 socks, my fastback wool ankle socks. I wear them more than I would have suspected. Now they have some new ones with different size, which is great for me. Because when you're walking around the cold of Minnesota and you're wearing little socks, it sucks. Wow, Minnesota's cold. All right, back to the focus, grip6.com. Free shipping on everything over $50. If you don't know about the Grip 6 belt, I'm wearing mine right now. See, I prove it to you. I don't make this stuff up. This is my honeycomb belt. I adore it. I love it. It's my number 1 belt that I wear all the time. Yes, I'm now not wearing a belt. I can handle it. I'm just doing a podcast. Hey, at least you now know I'm wearing pants. So that's a step in the right direction. It's the oldest joke in the book. All right. Lack of sleep. So go to grip6.com. Check it out. They got all sorts of deals. Let them know that you heard about it from Locked On. The promo code is Locked On. You can try that and see if you get any extra, but I don't think engineered without holes, without flaps, and without bulk. It's all at grip6.com. Today's show is also brought to you by Shopify. Shopify allows you to take your small business and turn it into a big business. Cha-ching! It's the sound of another sale at Shopify, the all-in-one commerce platform to start, run, and grow your business. In case you don't know, Shopify is a complete commerce platform that lets you start, grow, and manage a business. Subscription-based software allows anyone to set up an online store and sell their products. Shopify stores owners can also sell in physical locations using Shopify POS, i.e. point of sale app. Accompanying hardware. Go check it out. Shopify gives entrepreneurs the resource once only for big companies. Upstarts, startups, established businesses can all do it at Shopify. So right now, go to shopify.com/LockedOnNBA, all lowercase, for a 14-day free trial. Get full access of Shopify's entire suite of features. Grow your business with Shopify today. Go to shopify.com/LockedOnNBA. By the way, side note for coffee people out there. This is the Locke oat milk draft latte. This is heaven. This is truly, it's not quite as good as the, it's better in the store than it is the little cans you can get, but it's pretty close to heaven. So if you're a coffee drinker, this is close to heaven. All right. After the game the other night, Patrick Beverley, who can't shut up, who made a bunch of little floaters early in the game, was really super proud of himself for being like good, said, I'm the defensive player of the year. I'm always guarding the best player no matter what. I'm not roaming. It's no discredit to Royce O'Neal or any others on their team, but I'm the defensive player of the year. I'm not guarding Royce O'Neal. I'm guarding Mike Conley. I'm guarding Donovan Mitchell. I'm guarding Bojan Bogdanovic. You got Rudy Gobert out there guarding Vanderbilt, and every time I hear his defensive player, so whatever. All right, first of all, this is the evolution of the Utah Jazz, which is we're going to keep Rudy Gobert close to the middle no matter what. So if you put a non-shooter out on the floor, then we're going to end up taking your take advantage of your non-shooter, and we're going to keep Rudy Gobert close to the middle of the floor every single time. So that's what's going on there. And the Jazz have really gotten better and better and better at this to do it. Last year, I will give Patrick Beverley credit. He actually caused Donovan Mitchell some difficulty defensively. Good. Congratulations. You actually, the idea that this is like this one-on-one battle for defense and there's no concept of team or team element or anything of that, and that you might be playing team defense and schemes from someone like Beverley is a pretty revealing concept to who he is as a player and how he views playing as a team. Like, I think that's a really eye-opening comment to me there. By the way, last night, Donovan Mitchell, in 6 shots against Patrick Beverley, scored 9 points. I'll take that. In 6 shots, took 9 points. Okay, the other one was Anthony Edwards decided to pop off and say that he's not scared by Rudy Gobert. He doesn't put any fear in my heart. The weird thing here is why and what it is, frankly, about the American basketball player. I'm going to stick it on the American basketball player. That they have such a problem with Rudy Gobert being good. I really think it is a cultural thing about something about one-on-one American basketball, machismo, something about our game that these guys are just like can't deal with it. Like, it might not have scared Anthony Edwards, but he took 1 shot when Rudy was the closest defender all night. So I'm actually going to go out on a limb to say it scared him. Like, he didn't even get close. And the year before, he was 3 of 10 when Rudy was the closest defender. And last night, but facts don't matter here. That's what's so stupid about this. Here's my take. Here's what I said on the plane last night. If I'm Sacramento and I saw those comments, you know what I would say? We got a chance to make the playoffs because they're a mess. Like, the fact that that's what they're talking about after losing by 30 tells me that they're a mess. They're nowhere near ready to win as a basketball team. They don't have any idea how to win. They don't have any idea what they're trying to do as a group. They don't have any idea. And so if I'm Sacramento and I see those quotes from Minnesota, I'm thinking to myself, great, we got a chance to make the playoffs. That's literally what my first thought was. Those kind of comments coming out of a team that's lost 4 in a row, lost by 30, and is that much of a mess, and quit. They let go of the rope and quit last night. I go back to the game where we got blown out. We came back and we rallied back, and I was really poo-pooed the comeback we made that night. And I said I thought it was irrelevant and da-da-da. And, it actually might have spurred us on to this stretch where we've actually been good. So I might have been 100% wrong. I'm wrong all the time, by the way. Just don't, listen to the show. Hopefully makes you think and you learn something. It makes it better to be a Jazz fan. But don't think it's like, I'm like, whoo, gosh, I'm wrong all the time. So what's interesting to me on that is, like, here's this team that they didn't fight last night. Like, I said it pretty early on, this one's done. You could see them quit. Like, at 15, you could see them just let go of the rope and quit. So as I was walking downtown Philadelphia this morning to go get my La Colombe and head over to the Reading Market to go have my Dutch breakfast from the Amish, which is I love to do. I thought to myself, that was a thought I had. I was like, you know what? I think I was really wrong about that fourth quarter because actually was listening to Locked On Now, and John Corrales was talking about how the Celtics actually fought back and they continue to fight, though they're not winning. And you know what? That's a lot better than Minnesota last night. Minnesota just let go of the rope and quit. I mean, that's truly what they did. Few things last night, just kind of to recap why we were so good. They put 2 on the ball. And I said it in yesterday's. This is a case where I was right. If you listen to yesterday's Locked On Jazz, you were watching the game going, oh, okay, this is exactly what Locke said. Like, Ron Boone and I watched film on every flight. Ron's the greatest. And so we were watching the film of Minnesota, and literally the two of us looked at each other and were like, oh, we're going to kill them. Like, if you put two balls on the player, most of them have that. 2 players on the ball. I'm a dad. I make myself laugh. Inappropriate dad jokes here on Locked On Jazz. Woohoo! Be your first listen and get inappropriate dad jokes all the time. If you put 2 players on the ball, we're going to move it and get wide open looks. And they're the number 1 team in the league allowing corner threes. And what was so interesting last night before the game is Chris Finch, their head coach. I asked him about it, like, do you alter? And he literally said to me, his quote after the game was, you know what? For 82 games, this is the right way for us to play, which I thought was a really telling comment of, like, I have a team that's inactive defensively that wants to play offense instead of defense. We're going to go trap the ball. I have a center who's bad defensively. We're going to go trap the ball and put 2 on the ball and create activity and impact the ball and move around. And it's going to work on most nights for us for the long term of the season. And tonight's not one of them. That was legitimately what Chris Finch to me said was when he made the comment, hey, we think it'll work for 82 games. It was like, I've been in this league long enough because I'm super old to be able, as we talked about earlier this week, to say that, you know what, that's his, like, signal, like, tonight might not be one of those nights where it works. And I thought that was I thought that was a telling comment of, like, you know what, I'm building something here. I'm trying to get this team to play defense. I got guys that don't naturally play defense. I got guys that aren't naturally active defensively. They don't get back defensively. And so we're going to create. Their turnover numbers are way down. As teams have scouted Minnesota, their turnover numbers are way down, and they're in a lot of trouble because teams have figured it out. Like, I didn't mean to be a jerk to Chris Finch yesterday. He seems like a delightful man. Is the 2 questions I asked him, like, afterwards, he kind of looked at me like, come on, man. Like, one was, what's happened in the most recent games? Your turnovers are way down. And number 2 is, do you change what you're doing with 4 40% 3-point shooters on the floor from the Jazz at all times? And the answers were clear. Like, he's like, hey, I don't have an answer for that. All right. We'll get ready for Philadelphia. Take some of your questions. I see some good stuff coming in as well. And we have not talked about the NBA player of the week yet, Donovan Mitchell, who's just crazy. Do you know why free trials renew without your consent? It's a business scam out to get you. Don't let greedy corporations pocket your money. Download Truebill to take control of your subscriptions. Truebill is a new app that helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions you don't need, want, or simply forgot about. On average, people save up to $720 a year with Truebill, but because companies make subscriptions hard to cancel, Truebill makes it incredibly simple. Just link your accounts and Truebill will cancel all your unwanted subscriptions. It also does a lot more than this. This is their selling point, but I've downloaded Truebill, and I will tell you, it actually has a lot of other features, and I think it's kind of cool. Like, it does nicely keep you up to date kind of on where your spending is and where your categories of spending are and when your next bill's due and when you get paid. It's always nice. It notifies you when you get your paycheck. Over 2 million users have saved over 100 million. Don't fall for subscription scams. Start canceling today at truebill.com/LockedOnNBA. Go right now. Truebill.com/LockedOnNBA can save you thousands a year. Truebill.com/LockedOnNBA. Today's show is also brought to you by Stance. Colorful, comfortable Stance, the apparel, well-made, super soft, and entirely unique. It's a lot of fun to wear and out there for you. Stance, founded in 2009, represents a reinvention of socks, underwear, active apparel with a sharp focus on comfort, quality, and creative. Stance brings an atypical aesthetic alongside with some pop culture hottest collaborators all going on right now. Your favorite designs, whether it's Star Wars, The Office, Harry Potter, Stance apparel items you like are out there for you. I still wear my Brent Berry socks whenever I go mountain biking. Use the promo code LOCKEDON at checkout to get 15% off your first purchase. Enjoy the color and comfort of life less ordinary with Stance. Donovan Mitchell's on another planet right now. We should be discussing this. The player of the week has scored 30 in 4 or 5 straight games. His moves to the basket last night is in and out. I was really wanting to put together a highlight package of my calls of him last night because he was electric. He had an interesting comment on the postgame with Holly Rowe about he can get by the first guy every time, and that's what he does after that. He's got 4 straight games with 30 points. He's a large part of why the offense is going nuts. He's shooting 58%, 43% from 3, 94% from the free throw line. He's also got 5 assists in those games, 34 points a game. He is just blowing by people. He is so creative in the lane. He's making good reads. He's in control. He had 17 in the first quarter. He was just zeroed in. There was a great moment post game where he made the comment. Someone asked him about, like, what did Quinn Snyder say the first time out after Mike had thrown the ball away twice? He's like, I don't know. I was so locked in, I didn't hear him. That's the other one last night. Not a lot of live ball turnovers. You know, the key coming in the game was to not turn the ball over with live ball turnovers, and the Jazz were able to do that. And that was a massive key to last night. All right, let's quickly look at there's so many questions, and like, I'm so short. These are so brutal. 3:00. We got in at 3. Like, I try to get my sleep. They tell me sleep's important. I'm trying to buy into this concept. And then I need to eat. I buy into that concept. I never have had to be talked into that. And then next thing you know, you're short on time to get everything done. I kind of feel like we should be doing a 40-minute show. People are fired up and ready to go, and then I just don't have time for it today. So let me just quickly run, and I have a ton of questions that have come in. Let's talk about Joel Embiid. So offensively, 76ers don't run a lot of complicated stuff. Embiid will just be in the middle of the floor, all 7 feet of him. They don't really have, unless Maurice Thibault's on the floor, they don't have a non-shooter on the floor when they first start. They'll have Tobias Harris, and they'll have Maxey, and they'll have Danny Green on the floor, and their 4th guy is Seth Curry. So Rudy will have to guard him. We can't hide Rudy on Vanderbilt and keep him toward the middle. The other thing is that when Embiid is on the floor, they're in the 72nd percentile offensively, and they're in the 87th percentile defensively. They're really good against the shot. They're going to play drop big. They're going to hug the 3-point shooters. They're going to make it very difficult for us to go get our threes off. They only allow, when Embiid's on the floor, they only allow 33% of all shots to be threes. They only allow 6% of corner threes. They force you into a huge amount of mid-range jumpers. They're playing that drop big style, and he's massive, and he's a great, great defensive player. So that is going to be really difficult for us. Now, Embiid offensively, if he's not totally engaged, He'll play on the outside. He'll take a lot of bad shots, but he takes a lot of attention. The minute he goes to post, you got to double and rotate out, and then they got bona fide shooters. And so he bends a game because of his size and his caliber, and he will be very, very difficult. They played last night in Charlotte against a shorthanded Charlotte team, and so they had to really battle last night. Now, when Andre Drummond comes on, it's their version of Hassan Whiteside, and then it's not quite as awe-inspiring. When Drummond's on the floor, they're even. They're +9 when Embiid's on the floor. When Drummond's on the floor, but then their defense is not good. Then their defense slips to the 23rd percentile, and their shot profile is not as kind of daunting as what I talked about. They suddenly start to allow a lot of corner threes. They're okay at denying shots three, but you suddenly can get to the rim because Drummond has no lateral movement and no ability to handle that. And so that's where we have to really take advantage of those Drummond minutes. Maybe we're going to try to go small. He'll then try to overpower down low, which he might be able to do because he's so big. So interesting kind of matchup in that regard. We've got I should do my shows later all the time. We have a bigger live audience. All right, let me quickly look at some of the questions. See if there's anything here. Do you think the Jazz can complete for a championship with a middle-of-the-pack defense as long as we maintain a historically great offense? I mean, I think we're one of the 5 teams that have a chance to win a title. Obviously, do we get a terrible match? Are there someone like the Warriors? Can we handle that matchup? They're going to be able to switch to a lot of things Clippers did last year. And defensively, I always think it's hard to tell, can we amp it up defensively when we have to? Because our offense is so good right now that it's kind of making it so we don't have to. The league's also just getting really good offensively. There's just so many shooters on the floor. And so we need to be better than we are right now defensively. I didn't check this morning yet where we are. I think we were, 6th or 7th defensively. It's not terrible. And last night, I'm sure didn't help. Yeah, we're 6th in the league defensively. Without a lot of work, we could probably get to 3rd or 4th. And then Golden State's on a different planet defensively right now. Love Ant, even respect Beverley, but Gobert kisses them on the forehead and puts them to bed with a glass of warm milk, says Clay. Was super worried for a second we were going to have another water cup incident and Rudy was going to get ejected last night. Rudy made a mistake last night when he crashed that water bottle down and it shattered all over the floor. It was kind of, his passion getting the best of him. I think all of us have had those kind of moments, but that was not a great moment. Riker, I think it's funny that Beverley said what he did when all those guys he mentions guarding went off last night. Conley shot 50%. Mitchell and Bogey were even better than that. Yeah, it was a really strange element. JC, where are you dining in Philly? No dining in Philly because of the fact that we fly to DC tonight. We're here for 18 hours, not even that. But Vernick is the best restaurant in town here. Zahav is a very popular, was named Restaurant of the Year. Greek place that I love. There's another Greek place I actually like more that Alex Jensen and I went to a few years ago. So that's a good one. All right, always good to end on food. Thanks very much for tuning in. This is Locked On Jazz, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. Go listen to Locked On now. It's really cool. Please. See ya.